and welcome back to the channel. I want to talk about YouTube and its demonetization policies, its hypocrisy, and what some people around the world are doing to try and address this, and what I plan to do to try and address this. Because never complain about a problem unless you've got a solution is my general philosophy in life. Now, first of all, I want to talk about demonetization. Now, I put a video up yesterday or the day before. It was a rant, and it was demonetized. Demonetized within minutes of being uploaded. I've got the little orange or yellow dollar sign meaning limited ads, because for some reason that video was not suitable for all advertisers. Now, that prompted me to have a look at what basically rules out the green dollar sign. What makes a video unsuitable for all advertisers? And did my video qualify as being unsuitable for all advertisers? Well, I don't think it did. I've got the YouTube page here that tells you what you can and can't have in a monetized video. I'm going to quickly scan through it for you. You can't have violence. No violence. I had no violence in my video. There was no violence. I shook my fists at one stage, but I don't really think that qualifies as violence. It's just free expression of frustration. Adult content. Well, no, there was no pornography. There were no young ladies in my video. It was a totally family, well, not family friendly perhaps, but it was certainly, there was no adult content as defined by this here. No sexual activity, no explicit nudity, none of that stuff. So my video was okay under that. Then harmful or dangerous acts. Well, again, it was me talking to a camera. If that's harmful or dangerous, then the world's gone mad. But I don't think I qualified for harmful or dangerous act. Then hateful content. Now, it could be getting a bit close to the truth here, because I did actually criticize quite strongly politicians. Was it hateful? Well, no. I think I simply pointed out the bleeding obvious, and going by the comments on my video, a lot of people agreed. I don't think I was being hateful towards politicians. I was being frank and forthright, but not hateful. So I don't think I qualified under that. Then we have incendiary and demeaning. Well, now perhaps this was a category, because I did call politicians, well, no, actually I didn't call them asses. I just said that they plucked figures out of their asses. So is that incendiary or demeaning? Well, it was incendiary because it was a rant, and I had a big flaming rant sign in the background. So incendiary in the technical term, as is in to create fire, but I don't think it was incendiary or demeaning. And then, was there any recreational drug content in it? No, I'm not really into recreational drugs. Okay, I split a bottle of wine with the wife on a Saturday night, but that's as far as I go. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs or anything like that. Alcohol's a drug, but I mean, that's the only thing I do. Have a little bit of wine now and then. That's it for me. I might have a beer on a hot day, but we're not talking dope, marijuana, heroin, cocaine, or any of the other things that Google considers to be drugs. Tobacco-related content. No, I don't smoke. I've never smoked. No tobacco-related content. Firearms-related content. There were no guns in my video, and there was no reference to guns or anything like that. So again, didn't qualify for demonetization. Then we have controversial issues and sensitive events. Now, could this be it? Because I did mention in my video that Google had only paid $140,000 tax on $5 million worth of earnings on its drone activities in Canberra, Australia. Are they a bit sensitive about that? And is it controversial because they don't want people knowing about it? I think that could have been the thing that may have triggered the demonetization. And then, of course, adult themes and family content. Well, it wasn't a family video, so that didn't qualify either. And that was it. That's the only reasons you get demonetized. So I'm thinking controversial issues and sensitive events. Now, interestingly enough, and I already made a video on this, but I've had to make this video to replace the one I was going to upload, because this morning, when I went to check the figures on that video, as if by magic, it had been remonetized. Now, I didn't file an appeal. I didn't request an appeal or anything, but YouTube remonetized my demonetized video. So what's going on there? Why did they even bother to review this or revisit it? Their algorithm or whatever, or someone had said, well, not suitable for advertisers. And then 12, 18 hours later, it is suitable for all advertisers. I don't know what's going on there, but it calls into question this whole thing about what is suitable for advertisers. And I want to speak to the fake situation that YouTube's creating. Now, I'm going to talk about fake and hypocrisy, because that's what YouTube is creating. Now, I'm not talking about regular videos. I'm talking about monetized videos. YouTube's trying to create a world, a utopian world, where in the land of monetized videos, there is no violence, there is no anger, there's no discrimination, There are no bad things happening. There are no guns. There are, well, there's nothing. It is a land of milk and honey it's always sunny. It never rains. This is what they're trying to create, this false impression of this world, this utopian fictional place that is the world of monetized YouTube videos. And so, because you can't mention any of those things, you can't mention incidents, controversial and sensitive events, for example. I did a video some time ago in which I just mentioned in passing my sympathy for the people who were affected by a nasty incident here in New Zealand involving, it was a terrorist incident. Very, very sad incident. I expressed my sympathies, and I put out a pledge saying we need to be more tolerant, demonetized, because I'd referenced that event and it was a sensitive event. So we can't even mention things that have actually happened. We can't mention the facts. This will get you demonetized. That's not acceptable. As I say, you can't use guns. You can't speak about guns. You can't reference guns. You can't mention, or you can't refer to drugs because they don't exist in YouTube's utopian monetized world. You can't criticize a group. You can't criticize anybody because in YouTube's utopian monetized video world, everybody is lovely-dovely and you get on with each other and no one is criticized or sidelined or demeaned or anything like that. No, we can't have any criticism at all. There can be no hateful content for the same reason. You can't discriminate against someone because of their beliefs, apparently. You can't. But hang on, hold on. You can't discriminate against anyone because of their beliefs. That's hateful content. Yet YouTube themselves are doing this. This is where the hypocrisy comes in. Now, YouTube has issued a thing saying you can't monetize. In fact, they're deleting and sidelining videos that contain borderline content and harmful misinformation. An example of this is the anti-vaxxers and the flat earthers, right? We can discriminate against them. We can sideline them. We can act in a way that represents hateful actions and treat their content as if it's, treat them as if they are nasty people. We can actually really, really lay into them because it suits us too. In the case of YouTube, it suits us to do that. Now, I'll just take a case and example here. You might say, yeah, well, that's fair enough because the earth isn't flat. And I don't think the earth is flat. And for example, vaccination is a good thing. Okay, it's not totally risk-free, but the benefits wildly outweigh the risks. So anti-vaxxers, I don't agree with them. But we're talking about reality here. We're talking about a world where the basic tenet of free speech is that everybody gets to express their opinions and have their say. Whether you agree with them or not should not alter your support for the right to free speech. I deal with people every day and I don't agree with what they say, but I will fight to the death for their right to say it. That's what freedom of speech is all about. And YouTube has actually said, a statement from YouTube, our products are platforms for free expression. Unless you're a flat earther, unless you are an anti-vaxxer, unless you don't believe man landed on the moon, unless you believe there were conspiracies around 9/11, any of those things, well, no, you don't get to have free speech. No, so in the YouTube monetization world, those things don't exist. So you can have all the free speech you want as long as we agree with you. If you dare to differ from our position, I'm sorry, but you don't get any free speech. It's not free speech at all. It's hypocrisy, YouTube, absolute total hypocrisy. And you might say, well, fair enough, because these people that are full of rubbish, we can't let them spread their disinformation. They can't let the flat earthers try and convince other people the earth is flat. But I'm going to go back, speaking of the earth and flat and so forth, let's go back to the 16th century, shall we? Let's go back to 1534, and a guy called Copernicus, Nicholas Copernicus, he postulated that the earth was not the centre of the solar system, that the sun did not revolve around the earth, as was basically laid out in the scriptures. He said, no, actually the sun is in the middle and the earth goes around the sun. And oh no, there was massive outrage, and he fell foul of the religious teachings that prevailed at the time. And then a little later on in 1616, Galileo also came out and said, no, this guy Copernicus is right. The sun is at the centre of the solar system and the earth is going around it. The scriptures are wrong. Whoa, man. So he was the 16th century equivalent of the flat earther. His teachings were in violation. In fact, there was an inquisition. They held an inquisition back in 1616, and the Inquisition looked into it and unanimously agreed that it was foolish and absurd in philosophy, and formally it was heretical since it explicitly contradicts in many places the Holy Scripture. So they banned all the books that preached this sun-centric solar system, and they banned any letters, and anyone who was touting this view of the universe was basically in big trouble, because that was not the accepted view of the solar system at that time. Just as we don't have, our accepted view is that the Earth is round, and we've got plenty of evidence to support it. But that doesn't mean we should say people who believe it's flat should be banned, should be barred, should be censured, should be penalised for their views, because the history of science is littered with situations, and mankind is littered with situations where people believed things were true, and anyone who didn't fall into line with that belief was basically discriminated against, sometimes even killed. I mean, look, people were executed for not believing in the mainstream beliefs. And YouTube is doing the same thing. Just because YouTube says, no, climate change is real. Climate change, you can't disagree with climate change, or we will demonetize your video. You can't disagree with the fact that the Earth is round, or that whatever, or we'll demonetize your videos, because in the monetized world of YouTube, these things cannot be challenged. There is no free speech, of course, unless you agree with YouTube, in which case you can have all the free speech you want. Which brings us again to more hypocrisy, because under YouTube's hateful content thing, it says content that indicates hatred against, promotes discrimination, disparages or humiliates an individual or group of people based on the following is not suitable for advertising. You cannot discriminate on the basis of race, ethnicity or ethnic origin, nationality, religion. You can't discriminate, you can't criticise someone because of their religion. Well, hang on a minute. If the Flat Earth Society was a religion, how would you get on then? Because you're discriminating against them because of their beliefs. You are in violation of your own policies, which says you can't discriminate and belittle people because of their beliefs, yet you're doing that to the flat earthers and the anti-vaxxers and the people who said that man didn't land on the moon. I know these people are all nutcases, but they have as much right to free speech as I do. And I fight for their right for that. YouTube says, no, you don't agree with us, we discriminate. Do as we say, not as we do, is YouTube's policy in this. And I do not stand for that. I hate that level of hypocrisy, especially when it comes from an organisation that has omnipotence, because YouTube isn't answerable to anybody except its shareholders. So they can do whatever the hell they like. And they're going to say, right, one set of rules for you, another set for us. Not good enough, absolutely not good enough. So I can make fun of flat earthers, but I can't make fun of people because they believe in a fictitious deity, a god. Because all the scientific evidence, the same scientific evidence, if we look at science as being the arbiter here, science says the Earth is round. It's a sphere. The science all proves this, right? And YouTube says, oh, the science proves it, so you cannot go against that teaching. Yet the science also proves that religion is actually, it's a myth. Fictional deities. There is no proof of God. And most people who have a science background and have been educated through the university system tend to have a fairly low acceptance of religion. And I'm the same. I mean, let me say quite clearly, I totally accept that everyone has a right to believe in whatever deity they choose to. You've got a freedom to be whatever religion you like, but I don't have to believe in your religion. And I have a right to my opinion. And my opinion is that religion, they say, man was created in the image of God. No, actually, God created mankind. Well, no, mankind created God. Because if you look at the correlations, the more primitive the civilization, the more gods we have. Back in the early days, we had a fertility god and a sun god and a moon god and a rain god and all that sort of stuff. But as we have come to learn more about what really makes the universe tick, as our scientific knowledge has grown, we realize that the sun doesn't rise because there's a god involved. It rises because of simple astronomy, simple planetary kinetics. The Earth is revolving around the sun, unless you, in the 16th century. So we understand the mechanism. So we don't need a God to explain the unexplained, because that's what gods are for. Gods are there to explain that which is otherwise inexplicable. And that's why a lot of people still hang on to the belief in God, because we don't understand the whole thing of what happens when you die. Well, I think we do, but we refuse to accept it in many cases. We want to think that when we die, we go to a better place. So we have a God takes care of that, right, problem solved. Scientific types like myself, I believe that when I die, I'm dead. That's it. End of story. That's it. I cease to exist. My consciousness no longer exists. That's my belief. I have a right to share that with other people, just as they have a right to tell me that they believe in God and God's going to take care of them when they die. This is how a platform for free expression is supposed to work. But not in YouTube's monetization world. We can't have that. No, because if YouTube doesn't agree with you, then your opinion is not only invalid, but it's demonetized. So it's not good enough. Anyway, so the hypocrisy. It beggars belief, YouTube. You are just completely out of control. And if people have to accept it because you're omnipotent. You're a god. YouTube is a god because it has the power to do whatever the hell it likes, because it is not a government organization. It is not. The only people it's responsible to are its shareholders. And so we are powerless. YouTube content creators, we've got to follow these guidelines. And if we don't, we get demonetized. And sometimes even if we do follow them, we still get demonetized. So what do we do? What do we do about this? Well, one move that's underway is the formation of a YouTubers union. I'll put a link in the description to this. It'll probably get me demonetized. They'll say this video simply exists to take people off the YouTube platform. No, it doesn't, because it is, in fact, I've joined the YouTube union, but only really because I think it's something that needs support. But they've come up with a plan, and I think they are really dicing with death. I do not think their plan is a good one. They have aligned themselves with I think the largest trade union in the world, or in Europe or something, and they've given YouTube an ultimatum. They've put a gun to YouTube's head. There we go, more demonetization, symbolic gun. They put a gun to YouTube's head and said, if you do not become more transparent and give us this information within 3-4 weeks or something or other, then we're going to take you to court and potentially sue you for billions. Okay, so it's not the way you deal with someone like YouTube, but this is what they're choosing to do, because they are concerned that, the same problems we've all got. Overnight, your channel can be wiped from the face of YouTube, and you've got no comeback, no right of appeal, nothing. YouTube, because they're omnipotent, can say, all right, out of the pool, that's it, goodbye, and you're stuffed. You can't even create a new channel. Once you've been wiped out of the pool, you are gone forever. So they say this is not good enough, and I believe also this is not good enough. But their strategy is, we are going to threaten YouTube with huge fines, because under European labour laws, which are some of the toughest in the world, they believe that full-time YouTubers are not independent contractors, but they're actually employees of YouTube. I disagree with that. I think maybe under the European laws, there's a fly in here. Maybe under the European laws they have a case. I don't know, because I'm not familiar with European labour law. But in principle, I don't think it's true. I don't believe it, because I am a full-time YouTuber. I work hard at what I do, but I can do other things. My videos I can put on Vimeo. I can put my videos on other platforms. YouTube doesn't stop me doing that. So I'm not employed. If I was employed by YouTube to make videos, do you really think they'd let me put my videos on other platforms? I don't think they would. So I'm not a YouTube employee. So I think this challenge to YouTube by the union is very poorly thought out, and ultimately it's almost certainly going to fail. It's just going to result in a lot of acrimony and a lot of wasted time, money and effort. They're doing this the wrong way, and you can tell by the colour of where my hair used to be. I've been around a long time, and I've had to deal with omnipotent parties on many occasions. I've had to deal with governments, I've had to deal with regulators, I've had to deal with local governments and authorities. The only way to do it is to do it intelligently. I don't think confrontation in the way that this union is setting out to do it is going to work, because the big problem is, if you hold a gun to someone's head, you take your own life in your hands. For example, there are all these all these YouTube content creators, full-time content creators in the EU, and now we've got the union going to battle for them. They're going to get, if YouTube doesn't shape up, then they're going to have them classified as employees, and there will be huge amounts of back tax payable by YouTube and so forth. So what do you think YouTube would do? If I was YouTube, I'd say, okay, then we're just going to drop the YouTube partner program in Europe, in the EU. No more partners in the EU. I'm sorry, you guys, you're out of the partnership pool. And suddenly, all those full-time YouTubers don't have a job. They can't monetize their videos. What are they going to do? That's not the outcome the union would be expecting, but I can pretty much guarantee you that's an outcome that YouTube will be very closely considering, especially with the effect of Article 13, Article 17, with the copyright and so forth in the EU. And this is getting very difficult to deal in the EU from YouTube's perspective. So it's pretty simple to say, meh, EU, goodbye, we're out of here. Too hard. What has the union done for its members then? It's effectively put them out of a job. And that's the risk you take when you threaten an omnipotent party like YouTube. I would not be doing that. Certainly wouldn't be doing that. I'd be looking more at finding other ways of doing that. And I believe I have another way of doing it. The only way to force an omnipotent party to come to the table is to remove their omnipotence. And the only way to do that is to create some competition. Now, how are you going to make competition to YouTube? Many companies have tried and failed. We've had Vimeo, it's been there for ages. It's just not really a competitor. If you are a content creator monetizing your videos, Vimeo's of no value to you. You can't really make any money out of Vimeo. It doesn't have the same revenue sharing scheme. There are other startups like BitChute, but again, revenue sharing, it's just not there. I think you can do, and there's a library. I think the library has set itself up, but these are all really small players and they lack the one thing needed to dethrone YouTube and its omnipotence. They lack critical mass, and they will never have critical mass because they're going out with pretty much the same model. You upload a video, it gets monetized and whatever. The best you can hope is to capture a small share of the market that is YouTube. It's just not going to work. Even if someone bought out a complete duplicate of YouTube tomorrow, the most they could hope for would be 50% of the market because they've got no competitive edge. There's no benefit to it. There's no bonus. There's no selling feature. And YouTube is already, Google claims that YouTube isn't profitable. There's no money in YouTube. It's not making them any money as a profit center or as a cost center. And again, this is Google's very clever accounting. Now, they say that YouTube doesn't make them any money, but it does. It's just that YouTube itself doesn't make money. What they make money from is they're better able to profile people. You go in there, you watch this video, that video, the other video. Google makes its money by knowing who you are, what you like, where you go, what you do. All the privacy things that they collect on you makes you the perfect target for advertisers. They can say to an advertiser, we have the perfect targeting mechanism. You spend advertising money with us. We'll make sure it's more effective because we can target it accurately at people. And the more they know about people, the more effectively their advertising is targeted, and therefore the more value it is to advertisers, so the more they can charge for it. So although YouTube itself doesn't run at a profit, it is an essential part of the total Google machine, the alphabet machine, in terms of the total profit that generates. So this gives them a real big advantage as well. Another player coming into the market could reproduce Google and YouTube entirely, but they don't have the necessary back end. They're not selling advertising like AdWords across a wide range of platforms. They don't have the infrastructure necessary to leverage the benefit of all the information they're getting from people's activities. So the value of a view on alternative tube is worth nothing like the value of a view on YouTube. So if YouTube is not able to make profit out of YouTube itself, then no third-party player is going to be able to make a profit out of the same business model. It's just not going to work. So, because the other thing is the amount of infrastructure required. I mean, Google has invested phenomenal sums in servers, storage, bandwidth, physical location for YouTube. It is the only companies I think that could possibly come in and compete would be like Amazon. Amazon has got its Amazon Web Services, so it has a lot of infrastructure it could put into this, but it hasn't gone that way. Facebook might be able to do the same thing as well, but it hasn't gone that way because Facebook's a pretty closed ecosystem. You know, you can buy ads on Facebook, but they're only on Facebook. You buy ads from Google, they can go all over the web because of AdWords and AdSense and all that sort of stuff. So Facebook wouldn't get as much value out of creating a YouTube competitor as Google gets out of its YouTube. And Amazon, well, they're not really in the advertising business, so there's no real value in it to them at all. So in that respect, to make a competitor to YouTube, we have to do something different because we can't just go out there and say, give us $10 billion to create a new YouTube. Investors are going to say, no, there's no business case for this. I'm sorry, we're not going to waste our money building something that's going to fail. And as I say, there have been so many previous attempts that people have built and they've failed, not because they were not as good as YouTube, but because they never achieved critical mass and they would never have been profitable because they don't have the necessary infrastructure to benefit from the information they're gaining from the data they collect on people. But I have an answer. I'm going to put it on a separate video soon. I'm saying the way YouTube is doing things is not reproducible, but there is a better way to do it, and a way that is infinitely scalable, a way that produces a business model where people other than content uploaders can make a profit, they can make money out of this, a way that gives the users a better experience, and a way that gives you, as a YouTube content creator, absolutely total control over your content. Nobody can turn around and say your channel has been removed from the face of the internet. No one can turn around and say you have a copyright strike on that video and get 2 more and your channel's off. Nobody can say that video is demonetized. It removes that omnipotence that YouTube has, but it provides us with all the benefits and features and more of YouTube. Now, I'll do a separate video because this is a really, really important idea. And I'm an ideas guy, right? That's what I am. I've made my living over many years, many years, coming up with ideas, verifying that they are practical, turning them into a commercial reality, and then selling them. That's how I've made my living for probably 5 decades now. It's a long time. So I'm pretty good at it. And so I have put my mind to this task. As I said, I'm not prepared to criticize unless I can come up with a better solution. I believe I have a better solution. And I'm not going out now and touting for money. I'm not interested in making money out of this, but I'm happy to empower others to make money out of it. And in that regard, I think I may have a partner already prepared to do some of the development and some of the work, but nothing set in concrete. So watch for my video where I talk about how this works. And I think you will be surprised, pleasantly surprised, and you'll realize the massive potential. And Google will probably take that video down straight away because they'll see the threat that it represents to their YouTube omnipotence. But you've asked for it, YouTube. You have made life so difficult for people because you were greedy. You were greedy. And how do I say YouTube was greedy? Well, it's simple. When I first got involved in the partner program, it was a totally different world in the YouTube world. You couldn't just throw ads on your videos. You had to be invited to become a YouTube channel partner. And I got an invite. They said, would you like to join our partner program? I said, yes, thank you. And there was myself and you know, probably, I don't know, maybe a few thousand, tens of thousands of people had the privilege of having advertisements placed on their channel. And YouTube checked every channel out, made sure it was suitable content. We didn't have extremist videos on these channels. We didn't have pornography on these channels. We didn't have hate content on these channels. They were good, wholesome, you know, content that was getting good views. You had to have a certain number of subscribers, certain number of views to qualify, but they did. They vetted every channel before it was inducted into the partnership program. And so everybody was happy. I was making 4 times as much money back then out of my channel in terms of YouTube ad share revenue compared to what I make now. Even though I get more views now, I've got more subscribers now. Why am I making so much less now? Well, because YouTube got greedy. YouTube said, ooh, if we can make this much money out of 20,000 YouTube channel partners, why don't we just open it up to everybody and then we can put ads on every video and we'll make a fortune, and which is what they did. So they took down all the vetting and the checks and things and a while back, and they said anyone can monetize their videos, and everybody did, which had some rather unfortunate effects. First of all, supply and demand, the laws of supply and demand, basic economics. When there were only a few tens of thousands of YouTube channel partners, there wasn't a lot of ad space because there weren't a lot of videos that were monetized. So that ad space was sold for a premium. That was expensive. Advertisers had to pay a lot of money to get their ads on YouTube. So every view was worth more, which means YouTube got more per view and the content creator got more per view. So even though I had fewer views, each view was worth 4 times as much, 5 times, 10 times as much to me as it is today. But of course, once YouTube said, oh, let's let everyone monetize and we can make a fortune, most people did monetize. And that meant there was a glut of advertising space. Every video on YouTube had an ad on it, which meant the value of that advertising plummeted. It fell through the floor, which meant we got really crappy ads for a start because anyone could go and pay 1 cent per 1,000 in views and get advertising space because it was just unlimited advertising space. So the average value of advertising just fell through the floor, and content creators were really hurt by that. The full-time YouTubers really felt the pinch because their earnings plummeted as the value of advertising became less and less. And YouTube, of course, it doesn't matter because we've now got millions of channels we've monetized and billions of monetized video views. We're doing very nicely, thank you. So their greed paid off for a little while, until they discovered we had the adpocalypse. When advertisers suddenly discovered, what? Hang on a minute, our family-friendly ads are going on videos which are really not family-friendly, and there's a bad influence there. We're being tarnished. Our brand's being tarnished by being seen on extremist videos and videos involving harmful activity and so forth. So YouTube had shot itself in the foot. Advertisers like Johnson & Johnson pulled out. We're not putting ads on YouTube anymore. We don't know where they're going to turn up. It's bad for our brand. So suddenly YouTube's own revenues fell sharply. And of course, creators' revenues fell sharply again. Again, we were getting the short end of the stick because YouTube was being too greedy to start with. So again, we went from having premium advertising at a high rate, which made it worth being a full-time YouTuber, plunged down when there was an excess of advertising space, and then plunged down again when advertisers all started pulling out en masse because their ads were on unsavory videos. So YouTube then said, oh, righto, we're going to put criteria back in. You've got to have at least 4,000 view hours and so many thousands, whatever it is, the current things for monetization before you can become a partner. But that doesn't ensure that a channel is really fit and proper for advertising. It just means that you're popular enough that it's worth them dealing with you. So we still have the problem where they've had to produce these algorithms now that will check each video and make sure that it's suitable. It doesn't cross the line. It doesn't disagree with YouTube's own beliefs about the universe, about the planet, about climate change, about vaccinations. As long as you are a totally loyal YouTube follower, you follow Google's beliefs, its mantras, which used to be don't be evil, but that went out the window. As long as you follow their mantra to the letter, then you can advertise, put ads on your videos. But of course the algorithm is not very good. And now they've come out with a new way which basically you can self-rate your videos. Well, I'm sorry, but I've been doing this now for 10 years, full-time YouTuber, I think for nearly 10 years. So why, and I think the number of videos I've had demonetized has been pretty small considering that I've got over 1,000 videos on this channel. I think there's a handful of them have been demonetized, and most of the ones that were demonetized on manual review were reinstated, and now they've reinstated one that wasn't even manually reviewed. So my track record's pretty damn good. So why can't you trust me? Why can't I be given the ability to rate my own videos? I'm not putting up unsavory content. I'm not putting up terror videos and things, but still you won't let me make that decision. Now, there's a plan at the moment where certain selected YouTube channel partners can rate their own videos and mark them off against the criteria. And YouTube's saying this will help our algorithm to learn. But you can't, it's still applying the algorithm, and it's not until you've built up a trust level that you'll be given that. And I dare say they'll still run the algorithm over the top of your videos anyway. So it's not a partnership when there's no trust. And at the moment, there's no trust. There's no trust between long-standing YouTube partners like myself and YouTube. They don't trust me to make sure my videos are fit for monetization. They still run the algorithm over them, and they still get false flagged, and I still lose revenues like on my last rant, where it didn't get remonetized until it had already had 6,000 or 7,000 views. So I'd lost 6,000 or 7,000 views worth of advertising. Doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot to a small creator like myself. So there you go. Greed derailed what could have been a fantastic setup for YouTube, and it's cost them so much in the wake of that. Their greed, all they could see was the dollar signs, which means they've shot both their feet. And remember, oh no, this will be demonetized because I mentioned guns and violence. And we have the ludicrous situation where they claim our products are platforms for free expression, yet they make it very clear that free expression is only free if you agree with what we think, which is hypocritical. Anyway, long video, way too long. But you'll notice there's been no mid-roll ads in this video, because one of the things I do, thanks to my Patreon supporters, is I only have an ad at the beginning. And maybe there's one at the end, I don't know, I can't control that. But I don't put in mid-roll ads. My Patreon supporters provide extra revenue which ensures that, because I hate those mid-roll ads. And did you notice? The red barrel on the bottom used to show a yellow block every time there was an ad scheduled. It doesn't do that now, because I think they found that greedy content creators were putting ads every 5 minutes. And so when you loaded up a 20-minute video, there was all these little yellow dots, and people were going, I'm not going to hang around for that. And they were clicking away. YouTube thought, oh, we're losing engagement. Let's not let people know that there's going to be an ad every 5 minutes, and maybe they'll stay. Again, YouTube, you're greedy. You're depriving us of something that's really useful. I don't want to watch a video that has ads every 5 minutes, but you're depriving me of the ability to make that choice. You are not thinking about either the viewer or the content creator. You're only thinking about the demands of the bean counters out the back. Not good enough. So, as I say, watch for my upcoming video. I'll show you how we can change that. I'm pretty sure we can change that. And YouTube, you picked a fight with the wrong guy. You should be quaking in your boots right now, because I believe I have what it takes to rattle your monopoly. We'll see if it happens. I could be full of excrement. You don't know. Thanks for watching, guys. Comments, please. Go to the comments. There are links in the description to the YouTubers Union and things like that, which, as I say, I've got it wrong. But please tell me what you think about this. Am I wrong? Am I right? And place your bets now. Will this video be demonetized? And if so, why do you think it'll be demonetized? It'll be an interesting outcome, won't it? Okay, gotta go. Things to do. Bye for now. Oh, before you go though, I lied. Please tell people about this video. Link to it on Facebook and so forth. Even if it's been demonetized, it's important this message gets out. It's important that people know there is an alternative possibly coming in the wings, which is different to anything that's ever been seen before in the video on demand market. So watch out for that. And as I say, I'm not looking to make any money out of this. I just want to hold YouTube and Google to account for their sins, for their hypocrisy. Now it's goodbye.